All right, we're going to clean all the fascia off this hip. You're going to need all your tools for this. Here's the tail butt right there. We're going to clean this entire area, and there's a big glob of fat right here. We have to get all this off. All right, there's a little bit of skin muscle on this one right here. So I'm going to start right at the front of the hip. If I lift this up, you can see all that white connective tissue right there. So I'm just going to use my scissors to start. Baby nipping, don't get into the muscle. Then I'm just going to close it and scrape. And that'll take that right off of there. Let me borrow a napkin. I know. Okay. Now the other thing you have to be careful of, this is tensor fascia right here. This is sartorius. There is big white tendon here. You have to be careful. So I'm going to start just with my forceps and removing this fat off the tendon. See, that's tendon right there. See when I scrape that and nothing's coming off? That's all tendon. The fat will come off real loose. Oops, be careful, don't get into the muscle. Make sure you use that technique. Let's clean off the tendon first. There should be some really loose connective tissue here. And then there'll be another, that tendon comes right up here. There's another tendon right there. You can see I'm closing the nose and I'm just scraping that fat off. Look, just push it off. All right. Now when I lift this up, now you can see we're going to take that off. I'm going to lift that up right there. Now I'm going to go back to my scissors. There's a little bit of tendon that I want to remove so I can see gluteus maximus and medius. So I'm just going to take in my scissors. I'm going to go right down. There's the correct color. Right there. So just keep good solid up pressure on this muscle. And this should work right off. There it goes. Perfect. Now that's going to get right in. There's a few muscle fibers right there. So I'm going to have to trim that away. Trimming this away from cauda femoralis. Little strap-like muscle right here. All right, that's the color it should be. Right there. Sorry, I hope that was still on the camera. Still a little bit of loose stuff over here. I'll come back and get that later. So that section right there is clean. Now I'm going to come back over here, grab this little, whoops, make sure the nose is clean. You're going to have to be really careful as you work right down to the muscle here. There it is. There's the muscle color right there. Right off the tail butt. I'm just going to trim that off. Okay. Now there's a big pad of fat right here. So if I lift this connective tissue up, look at this. Just going to work this stuff off. Just using my forceps back here. I'm going to run this out. Oop, there's the muscle. So I'm going to work on this big glob of fat right here. Just scraping. Oop, don't scrape that muscle too hard. There's the edge of it. There's some fatty ankles right there. Here's the edge of the muscle right there. I'm just going to work this straight through to the back. Just trim that right off. Oops, don't get into that muscle. Alright, got that pad of fat off. Now if I turn this just right, you can still see there's a ball of fat right here in this crease. Just going to work that loose. Don't put your scissors in there. There's a big nerve called the sciatic. We'd like to keep that. So I'm just going to work that pad of fat out with my forceps. And there it is. Boom. Just work that fat off of there. Now you can kind of, while everybody's working, if you get done a little earlier, you can just work on this thin stuff right out to the shin. A little bit of fat right there. Now I'll be able to do the dissection. It's not perfectly clean. I can still do some work in here. Scrape that out of there. So that's clean on that side. I'm going to flip this over. If you have any loose stuff on the inside, you can probably just take your finger and move the genitalia. You can see I'm just kind of just using my finger and pulling that to the center line. Right there. Scrape that up with your thumb. And that leg is nice and clean. We can do the full dissection now. Ready, set, clean your minks.